What's going on, everybody? You're listening to Point2Point NHL Recap Show, Season 2, Episode 31. I'm Pascal Fry, joined by Mark Ilak, and today we're about halfway, 33% through the Stanley Cup Finals. It's been a great game 1 and 2 so far. I've been absolutely thrilled with what I'm seeing. Mark, how are you doing, though, before we get into everything?
Yeah, pretty good, dude. Just it's been kind of hard on the off days to kind of figure out what the hell to watch
Yeah,
at night. But I mean, it's kind of gets you a little bit like, I look at it as it's like, okay, you got to get a little bit prepped for the summer when there's actually nothing. It's not like it just hits you right like that, right? You give a little bit of preparation, but it does suck the gaps in between games, but man, it makes the hype for each game so much better, in my opinion. Like I feel like I
yeah.
haven't watched a game in a week, and I'm so pumped for this game 3 tonight. I'm just besides that, I mean, I'm just kind of diving into some like draft stuff to kind of keep myself occupied on the off days. But how you been doing, dude? You been out golfing at all since we last talked?
No, I still have been golfing. I don't know why, really. I feel like it's because the weather kind of hasn't been the nicest. We started to get the warm weather now last weekend, but I haven't been out golfing yet. I'm probably going to try to get out golfing at some point this week. But I'm all with you, dude, on the off days are kind of tough. Like, bro, having the no game on Saturday or Sunday, both those nights and the days, I was like, man, like, what am I going to watch here, dude?
Yeah.
It's like you got the NBA Finals going on. Outside of that, though, it's pretty much like baseball or something else that's a little less
Is the NBA
low
Finals
key.
not like this? Is it not matching the day with the NHL at all? Like, is it opposite right now?
So they're opposite as well, but they played last night. Like they played Sunday, right? So there was no game. Like Saturday night, there was no hockey game, no basketball game. So it was like that
Is it two
was
nothing or 1-1 now? I haven't honestly. I saw the what's his name, the Halliburton guy, like one game one,
yeah.
but I have no idea what happened in the second game.
No, OKC won the second game, which is nice
Okay.
because the star kid on OKC, he's a Canadian. He's actually from Hamilton, I believe. So, it'd be nice to see a Canadian win an NBA championship here. And he won the
Is that
MVP
that
too,
kid
so
Alexander kid?
yeah, he won the MVP this year.
Okay,
He's a
okay.
dude, he's a
Well, that's pretty
stud,
good.
man. Yeah,
I mean, if
he's
you get like, I'm not obviously you can tell I'm not an NBA fan, but if you get almost 7 games of that with 7 games of the NHL, at least it's helping you get through until kind of the off
yeah.
season starts.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I'm at. And then once the summer comes, I guess it's just gonna be golfing as much as I can, but can't complain about being out on the course. Let's get right into the finals talk, though. With the series going back to Florida, it's currently tied 1-1, with Game 3 being played tonight. Mark, if you're each team in this series, how are you kind of feeling with where they're at?
I have to believe that both teams are feeling pretty good of where they're
Yeah,
at. Like, I think that this has honestly been a great first 2 games, and I think there's been points in each game where teams have taken over. I think that you can probably look at like every position and look at guys. And are you really looking at any guys in this series that have stood out to you in the sense that they've been really bad?
no, not one.
Like I don't really look at anyone and I'm like they've been terrible in this series. Like it's not that everyone's been great or even everyone's been good, but I think that for the most part both teams have to be feeling pretty good. They're getting production from a lot of good players, and I even look at it, it's like I guess the one guy that I feel like maybe hasn't made his mark on this series yet is Barkov. But it's
Yep.
like if you're going home 1-1 and you're looking at Barkov he hasn't been bad by any means. But if you look at it like you got to expect he's going to get going, right? So it's like you're going home with a split. It's now a best 3 of 5 where you have home ice basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You 3 of the last 5 games are at home. So I don't know. It's like I feel good for both sides. It's like, but at the same time, like Edmonton has also been a very good team on the road. Like they've been, I think they're 6-3 in this year's playoffs on the road. So yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like both teams have to be probably feeling fairly confident going into tonight. Like it's a massive game, but I mean, I don't really look at either team going into it like worried.
Yeah, I'm all with you on that, dude. I don't think either team is going to looking worried at all. Like both these games went to overtime, right? Both these teams they had an opportunity to win it each game. If I'm the Oilers, I look at game 1 and I'm actually pretty happy with how that played out. Like, have you seen the stat about Florida while winning or Florida's record while being up after 2 periods? Like, dude,
31 and all, right? I think.
up until that Oilers win in game one, right? Like if I'm the Oilers, I look at that and I'm going, man, like this team's beatable. What happened last year was a fluke for the Oilers, right? Like they came out a lot stronger here in the start of this series. If I'm the Oilers and I'm kind of looking back at last year and how that series played out, I'm 100% happier than where they were at last year, right? And then for Florida, like similar thing, right? Like you start off on the road, you're coming home now. The series is 1-1. It's a best of five series now, right? Like you're happy if you're Florida too. I will say though, if I'm Florida, the one thing where I might be a touch worried is the Bobrovsky situation. And hear me out here. I know we were talking about this game two when it was happening, but Bobrovsky loses what? He loses 15 pounds every game he plays throughout the game, right? You had both game one and game two go to overtime, so he's getting that extra wear on his body. If you're Florida and you're looking at this like, man, this series is going to go to 6 or 7 games, which right now it's looking like that. Like, are you worried at all that maybe later on in this series that Bob could be facing some sort of fatigue?
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, like Stuart Skinner's faced a lot, right? As
Yeah,
well. And it's like you can argue that Skinner's younger, but like also Bob's had more of a longevity being a starter and having consistent starts, right? Like with Skinner, he's been replaced, right? Like as much as he's played a bunch of games in a row now since coming back, like he's kind of getting to the area the amount of games where I'd think that maybe it's a question mark if he can keep it up.
yeah,
I mean, for sure, I feel like there's definitely a worry because realistically, they've almost played 3 games within 2 games, right? Like
yeah.
with almost finishing going to triple OT and then that overtime, the first one they scored in the last minute of overtime. So, I mean, I feel like maybe a little bit. But even if you think back to like last year, like I know Florida like they came out buzzing the first couple games, but I don't know if you remember like Bob shut out the Oilers game one and they like completely
Yeah,
outplayed Florida. Like
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the shots were almost double. So it's like if I look back to last year, it's like he kind of struggled near the end and then was able to kind of like mentally reset and physically reset and be ready for game 7. And I know it's a long travel, but I mean, I feel like the extra day in between some of these games definitely is helping, which you weren't getting even in the conference finals or before that, right? So, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say 100% like, no, it's not going to be a factor, but I will say like, I'm not really worried about it.
yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm really worried about it, but I would say it is like kind of in the back of my head right now because it's like I see what you're saying that like yeah, like Skinner has played that like the same amount of time as well, but for me, I just look at like Bob already in a normal game like takes on so much, like it's so demanding on his body already, and then it's when you're adding these 2 overtimes onto it, and then even like looking back at last year, right? Like game, what was it? Game 5, 6. He kind of was a bit down to normal self, right? So it's like if that happens this year, like if you get that happening this year, I think like Florida won't really be able to afford it. Of course, the series is still 1-1, right? Like we could be talking next week and the series is over, or the series is 3-1 or something. But if the series does remain close, like how it has been so far early on here, I don't think Florida like can afford to get a down game from Bob. I think they're going to need him at his best throughout the whole series.
I mean, I feel like that's fair, but like I also believe even like with these first 2 games being high scoring, like I actually think both goalies have been pretty good.
Yeah,
Like I think they're keeping their teams in games. There's been a couple goals here and there where I feel like we're definitely stoppable on both sides, but I don't look at either goalie and I'm like they've been bad despite letting in basically an average of 4 goals a game. Like I think they've been keeping their team in it. There's been longevity here, and I think a lot of the goals have been like kind of like no doubt that's kind of going in, like with these backdoor passes and like you know
yeah,
what I mean. Like it's just like if they make the save, it's incredible. And it's like to be honest, there's been a couple times where I've been like, holy shit, that's a guaranteed goal. And then it's like Bob will slide over and make a huge pad save or something, right? So I don't know. I don't think that both of them are playing at their absolute best right now, but I would say we're getting at least like 70% out of each goalie, like in accordance to effort wise. And like, I think that both of them don't look off in any way, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
think they both look pretty good. So I think that's a
There's
positive going forward. Do you not think coming up we're going to get like a 2-1, 3-2 game, more lower scoring? Because I think that we might see one of those in the next, like one of these games in Florida.
See, I don't think so. I think the way the series has been going and the way these guys are playing, man, like it's going to continue to be high scoring. The other thing too is I think each team is going to get like power play opportunities, right?
Yeah, there's been a ton of power plays. Like, what have you
Which
like
is
kind of thought about that? Like, do you think these are like more deserving penalties? Like, do you see what happened? Do you see what Friedman said? A guy texted him that played Florida in the playoffs this year, and halfway into game 2, he's like, "Oh, so now they're calling penalties on Florida." Like it was almost like they're calling shit that you
yeah.
think they'd call, but like they weren't really calling it all playoffs, which I actually don't really disagree with, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't disagree with it at all either. Like the one guy I had written down here in our notes is Sam Bennett, right? Like I love the way he plays, but I think we're getting to the point here where it's almost like Nazem Kadri Leafs point, where it's like if he doesn't maybe take a step back, he might actually do something that is going to hurt the team, right?
Do
Like
you
you remember the
think it's
Kadri
mostly because of the
suspensions?
goalie stuff, though?
Pardon me?
Do you think it's because of the goalie stuff, though?
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. Dude, it's 3 series now in a row where he's fucking done something to the opposing team's goalie. And the against Carolina and against the Leafs, it didn't get called, but against the Oilers, it got called, and it was obvious, dude. Like Stuart Skinner was like down. Like at one point, I thought he was gonna get taken out of the game. Like it did not look good originally, but like I just feel like I love the way Sam Bennett plays, but like at this point where we're at now, like the refs, like he's got a bullseye on his back, right? Like he's got to be a bit more careful walking the line because if he does cross the line, like he's going to get hammered for it. Where maybe in some of the earlier series in the playoffs, he wasn't getting hammered for that little cross, like crossing the line a little bit. Like, what do you think? Do you think Sam Bennett needs to maybe take a little bit of a step back, or do you think he should keep on doing what he's doing?
Okay, no, I feel like he should take a step back, but I will say though, him being like surprised about being called in game 2 and not being called in game 1, I feel like he actually kind of had a right to be surprised because I feel like those calls like aren't really that much different. Like the one where they scored, I'm talking about in game 1, like, and he had a different outcome on both. Because did you see the clip of when like in game 2 when it happened and he fell and he got up and like people were shoving him? Like, did you see
Yeah,
his face like after like the ref had his hand up?
yeah, he was
Like,
like,
dude,
"What?"
he looked so surprised. And to be honest with you, I don't really blame him in that sense, but I also think that both of them are penalties, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
Or maybe not the first one you're calling a penalty, but I still don't believe that's a goal, dude. And I'll tell you why.
same.
Because when Bennett made contact with Kulak, he was not close to the crease. And everyone's arguing Kulak tripped him, but Kulak moved into him. Bennett was more stationary. So if you get tripped and you're stationary, you're not taking a couple steps back and falling. You're
Yeah,
basically falling right over, right? So my opinion is he purposely went into the goalie. And honestly, even in game 2, I will agree that Ekholm gave him a bit of a shove, but I think he way oversold it and
yeah,
flopped onto Skinner, right? So I think it's like if he looked at game 1, he was like, well, I kind of did the same thing and it didn't get called. And then the same thing happened in game 2 and he got called, right? So I think there's been a bit of inconsistency with the reffing. I just think both of them aren't really goals, to be quite honest with you, because I think Skinner's in his crease on both of them. And the other
yeah,
one, it literally affected him from scoring. Like it's not that it's not a penalty. It's that Bennett sold it more and it was goalie interference, which made it not a goal in my opinion. Florida
yeah.
should have had a power play out of it. That's kind of the way I looked at that play in game 1. And I remember I texted you and a couple other people because I was pissed and they were like, a lot of people were like, dude, I don't know, that's goalie interference. I'm like, dude, watch it. And the thing that pissed me off is that they spend so much time on these freaking replays, and then that one, it was like 40 seconds. They literally looked at the iPad and they're like, "Oh, okay, no, it's a goal." And everyone was like ripping Knobloch, and I'm like, I just don't get it, dude. In my opinion, that's not a goal. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's no way that that should be a goal. Like as you said, he falls right onto him, and the way he falls, like he doesn't fall that naturally. Like kind of like aims himself to fall onto Skinner and impede him
Yeah.
there, right? Like it's like if he's doing that, that can't be a goal, or else every time you have a player in front of the net, if I was a player and I would got a little cross check in the back, oh, flop on the goalie, flop on the goalie. It's
See,
not gonna
but
get
doesn't
called,
that make
right?
you think what I said though about Bennett being surprised about it in game two? Because he basically did the same thing and then he got called for it. You know what I mean? It's not
And
that I don't think it's a penalty, but it's like if you're going off consistency of how calls are made in the series, he's almost like, holy shit, like anytime I ever get contact, I can flop on the goalie and like I'm not gonna get called. Like I'm not gonna get called, right? Like
see, and I think there was probably some sort of discussion between the Oilers and the league after game one, being like, you guys got to fucking look out for this shit because he's gonna do this shit all series, and if you don't call it, like something's gonna happen, right? It's been 3 series of it, man. Like at some point, the NHL, the referees, like they gotta look at it and be like, okay, like he's really gonna try walking the line. There's gonna be points that he crosses the line and doesn't get punished for it. Like we got to step up and call these things now that where maybe in some other series or at some other points they let it slide because it's like, bro, he almost fucking took out Stewart, like he almost shattered Skinner's fucking leg, bro.
oh, dude, I can't lie to you. I right when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, Calvin Pickett's finishing the series.
Yeah,
That
it's
was my
like
first thought.
it's like if I'm Sam Bennett now, I think I am probably maybe taking it back just a step because if you do go out there and do something dumb and you do get like bro, if he goes out and does something dumb and he gets a 5 minute major and you put that Edmonton team on the power play for 5 minutes, like that's potentially like that could potentially be the power play that shifts the series, right? Like who's to say the Oilers
Yeah.
can score 3 goals on a 5 minute major, right? So it's just if I'm Sam Bennett, I'm kind of looking at the way things are going now and I'm going, okay, I gotta be a bit more careful here. I still want to play my game in the style I play, but I also don't want to do anything that's going to really hurt the outcome of this game or hurt the outcome for my team.
No, I mean, I do completely agree with you in that sense. I think it more pissed me off the one in game one because it's like when it happened and I saw it like in live time, I was like, fuck, that's goal interference. And then they said something about being tripped, and then I'm like, okay. And then they show the replay, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. I'm like, he sold that so hard. And I think it just pissed me off more because it's like in the moment, maybe as the ref, yeah, you call it a goal, right? Like, but it's like when you actually get it challenged and like having a chance to look at it, and it's like all these replays in the season, it's like how pissed is everyone about replays because of how long they spend on replays. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, we're in game one of the Stanley Cup Finals, and you're spending 40 seconds reviewing this play that could literally change the entire game. Like it was going from a 1-0 Oilers lead to 1-1 and then a power play, which they scored on to make it 2-1. Like it was a
Yep.
huge moment. And it's like they spent, even if right away you're like, no, that's not goalie interference. Like it didn't even, it was almost like they looked at it once and they're like, nah, fuck it. It's a goal. Like, and they didn't want to like look more into it. I don't know. That's just how I felt watching. It felt like they didn't really care about it, and it was just like, dude, this is like game one of the Cup Finals. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah, I wonder if any part of the shorter review was like the fact that they're actually at the venue because I believe for game one they like the whoever runs the review like control room in Toronto, I think he actually was like in the building for game one. So I don't know if that changed at all, but I would be curious to see like the behind the scenes kind of things there. Mark, I want to ask you one kind of final thing here before we move on to some other news throughout the NHL. Going forward in this finals, what do you like? How are you kind of feeling? What do you want to see from each team? And sorry, before you start too, I will say that the other thing to consider is Ryan Nugent Hopkins is a game time status for tonight's game. So
yeah, I think I saw he wasn't on the ice today, but like I'm pretty sure Knobloch said he's like probable. So obviously we'll see about that. Man, it's like is it that crazy to say? Like I just think they should be like keep playing the way they're playing. Like obviously it'd be kind of nice if you get like an extra save here and there, but like I feel like at the same time it's like probably try to shut down a little bit more defensively. Like I guess like both teams are kind of high flying offense, but it's like, buddy, like you know who I think has been, despite the Oilers scoring like 9 goals or whatever the hell they've scored in this series, like I think Forsling has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's been so many plays that he's like shut down that like literally could have led to like so many different Oilers opportunities, and it's like kind of crazy to say that like Florida's like debatable number one defenseman is in like letting in 8 goals in this series has been really good. Like, it's just like I don't know. They go back to like so many of these replays, and in the moment, I'm like, was that Forsling? And then they go back, and it's like he makes this nice extra poke check or something to like shut a play down, and it's like I don't know, man. It's like I don't think anyone's been really bad in this series. It's just like I think both teams need to just stick to their game plan, and I think it's going to be a different series in Florida now. They've got a lot more. I think I believe with what some of these coaches say, where they don't believe momentum goes game to game. I don't really believe that either, to be honest with you. I think with good teams, it doesn't go game to game because I
Yeah.
think they're able to kind of flip the switch and like make it different in that next game. So I just think it's gonna be a different atmosphere for Edmonton, obviously. So I think I might be a little bit more worried for them right now than Florida just going into this game. But also it's like if they get under their belt, if they get a couple of minutes under their belt that are really good, it's like they've got the momentum and they're in the game, right? It's just like they don't have the home crowd behind them going into this game, right? So it's like maybe I just think the momentum's a little bit more on Florida's side at this moment, but I've been really impressed with Edmonton too, right? And I feel that I feel like that I agree with you. I feel like Bobrovsky can't really slip up at any point of this series, or he might be, Florida might be screwed. But I don't think he's really slipped up at any point, to be honest with you. I felt like that Arvidsson goal last game was kind of weak, the one to make it 3-2 early in the second.
Yeah.
Like it was like a slap shot from like the top of the hash marks on the boards, and it squeaked through his glove. At the same time, it's like I also felt like the OT winner from Skinner was pretty bad. Like he should have had that, to be honest with you, right? But it's like I'm also not blaming him for the loss. I think he played really well. So it's like, yeah, I feel like there's just there could be improvements all around, but I've been pretty satisfied with the way a lot of people have played, and that's why I just think it's been a great Stanley Cup final so far, dude. Like it could be
Yep.
2-0 for either team. It could be it's great that it's 1-1. Like you know what I mean? Like it could have gone either way in either game.
For me, I'm looking at this series and I'm with you. It's pretty hard to kind of find every like something for each team. I think it is kind of just keep on playing the way they've been playing. But the one thing I would kind of lean towards would be just cutting down on these penalties, because it's like you can't keep on putting the Oilers on the power play.
I agree. I
And
just feel
then
like yeah, I do agree with that. I just feel like maybe they're going to get more used to now how the series is being called because like I said,
yeah,
I feel like it wasn't called this loosely like the first 3 rounds, to be honest.
and then looking at it on Florida's side, I think the other thing is get Barkov and Reinhart going. Because like it's already been a really close series in game one and two without those guys like being dominant as we're used to seeing. If those guys can be dominant as we've seen throughout this this playoff season, I think that really could change things around for Florida, right?
Yeah, I honestly think Reinhardt's hurt. I think
Yeah, oh,
he doesn't look like
for
he's
sure.
playing his best for sure, but it would be nice if he could get going a little bit offensively. And I just think, yeah, I think Barkov hasn't been bad by any means, but I think he could probably make more of a statement offensively in this series. But it's good you're getting production from guys like Marchand, like Verhaeghe's
Yeah.
been pretty good. Bennett's been obviously like a huge factor in this series so far, right? So, and I mean, with the Oilers, it's just can they still get this consistency, depth scoring? You know what I mean? Corey Perry's been huge part of this series. I mean, he took a bunch of penalties in the first period last game. So, I mean, he's got to settle down with that for the most part, sorry, excuse me. But I mean, yeah, like Edmonton, has like, dude, like Wallman's been playing like the least amount of minutes for them, and like he's been great too. Like they have a lot of depth. I really think Klingberg has gotten some life into him too. To
Yeah,
be honest with you, he's been pretty effective, and he hasn't really looked that out of place defensively, and he usually is too. So, I mean, yeah, Edmonton. I hope they get it done. To be honest with you, I'm really rooting for the Oilers this year, but it's fucking tight, dude. It feels like even like the better team could like not win the series.
yeah.
You know, so it's like I just feel like it could go either way. To be honest with you, and I really hope we just get 7 games.
Yeah, I'm all with you there. Overall, it's been a great series so far, and I'm hoping game three tonight's going to be awesome. Looking at a team that the Oilers beat on their way to the Stanley Cup Finals. After 3 seasons with the Dallas Stars, Pete Deboer has been fired by the team. This comes after back-to-back Western Conference Finals losses. Mark, what are your thoughts on the firing here?
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like I'm a little bit surprised, but I mean, I'm not that shocked at the same time because I felt like they could maybe use a change after the way it just went like publicly with DeBoer. Um, like the way it was he handled the entire Ottinger situation basically,
Yeah,
right? And it just felt like according to like sources that a lot of players weren't happy with the way that was handled, and it felt like maybe he's just losing the room a bit in general, right? Like even in the timeout before it happened, it felt like a lot of guys weren't really paying attention to him, in my opinion. So maybe overall, it like they just felt like they needed a new voice. Did you hear about like the owner thing, like him going on the radio?
yeah, because the owner went on the radio and said that they weren't gonna get rid of DeBoer, but the thing that I saw was that was before they had the end of year meetings, and I think that after those meetings with all the players at the end of the year, that's kind of when they were like, yeah, no, this is a bigger issue, and we do have to let him go.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I really believe in the moment the owner wasn't like lying or anything. I think it actually
Yeah,
just was a complete like the interviews just completely changed their mind, right? And I feel like it's the right decision, even though like he's been to 3 straight conference finals, just because I think publicly, like, I feel like that's really hard to regain the relationship with Ottinger after that. And it's like
yeah,
Ottinger's their guy, right? They just signed him to an 8-year extension. I feel like he likes being there. I just feel like he probably just doesn't like what just happened, right? So I feel a new voice could definitely be a big factor for them. Obviously, it feels like they're almost like Carolina, like right?
yeah,
They're almost right there, but they haven't gone to that next level. Despite they probably even have like a better roster team than Carolina does. Um, but I mean, I would expect them to make some changes this offseason. They obviously won't be able to bring everyone back because they've got some free agents. And with DeBoer, I think that a team next year that's probably maybe not like more of a bottom feeder team, but like a team that's in a decent situation, they fire their coach. Like I'd probably look at Pete Deboer and being probably one of the first guys on their list that they'd be interested in hiring because it's like we talk about coaches getting recycled, but I mean, I feel like this is a guy that you can recycle, and it's kind of justified, right?
yeah.
Like he's had a lot of success in accordance to getting deep in the playoffs and getting teams to be good. I just feel like with Dallas, it was more like he came in when they were good, and then he didn't get them to the next level, right? But he's helped teams like with the Sharks, right? Like Vegas, he's got pretty far with. But he just hasn't been able to get these teams to the next level. But if you're a team that's even maybe struggling to like get in the playoffs and you fire your coach, he's probably a guy that can help get your team back to the playoffs, right? So
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see where he ends up because I do think there will be a fair bit of teams that would be interested in bringing him in if they end up with a open position.
it was kind of nuts though that like every position was filled. Like they just came to that point after Dan Muse was hired
Yeah,
by Pittsburgh, and then it was like what was it like 24 hours? Not even. It's like okay, now we got another opening.
yeah, and I wonder for Dallas too, like who they're kind of looking at. Like I know before the show you were mentioning Woodcroft would be an interesting one, but because it does suck to fire your coach at this point in the year. Because the other thing is most of the candidates have already been hired, right? Like, of course, there still are a lot of candidates around, but it's like you don't have the Mike Sullivan on the market anymore, right? Which kind of
So
sucks
I
for Dallas.
wonder. I wonder because Friedman was mentioning that like they kind of went out of their way even when they were a good team to hire like Montgomery out of Denver.
Yeah,
So like it seems like they're willing to go off the board. I was also thinking about this dude. Manny Malhotra hasn't really had the chance to interview for jobs because he's on his way to the Calder Cup Finals with Abbotsford.
yeah.
Is that a guy they may potentially look at who I thought might have gotten a chance with the Canucks?
The interesting thing you say about that too is Abbotsford actually beat the Texas Stars, Dallas's affiliate team, in the Western Conference Finals too, right? So it's like if you're the Stars, like there's also a little bit of like, oh man, this guy just put up a really good performance against our AHL team, right? So that is a pretty interesting name, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. It might not happen, but I was kind of thinking about it as the show went on. Like he really hasn't had a chance to interview for anything. He probably was obviously in consideration for Vancouver's job being
Yeah,
internal, right? Like they could have announced it, like even when he was still with Abbotsford, because I think they did that with Bilesma in Seattle last year.
yeah, they did.
But I mean, he didn't. All these jobs are filled, right? And his focus right now is being the Calder Cup in this season. So I feel like that sucks for some of them. And obviously, like you said, Jim Nill doesn't have the cream of the crop coaches to look at to make a hiring here. So I wonder he might have to go off the board a little bit here, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that at all. Moving on from a coach that got fired to a coach that's probably at the top of his game right now. Spencer Carbery has won the Jack Adams Award for the season. He led the Washington Capitals to a 111-point season, taking them to first in the Eastern Conference for the first time since the 2016-2017 season. Mark, was this a right pick for the award?
I believe so, to be honest with you. Not just because I had him on a bet in November to win it, but I actually think that he was probably like if you look at their team, right? Like it was he had a pretty good performance last year, just getting them to the playoffs, right? When people didn't expect it, even though
Yeah,
like they probably like overachieved in some sense. But you got to think too, as much as like we credit like their GM for the moves he made this offseason, like well, a combination of Patrick and McClellan. Um, it's not easy at times to be able to get a bunch of guys to gel together, right? And like
yeah,
I just remember Dylan Strome talking about the main thing that they just focused on more this year was like literally like going out and trying to score more goals because they didn't really do a ton of it the year before. Lindgren kind of bailed them out of a lot of games, right? And even though Thompson was great for them this year, like they gave him a lot of run support, right, throughout the season, and they scored a lot of goals. So I feel like just the way they how many points they improved by being the best team in the Eastern Conference, like um, and just them the way they could be able to bring in guys. A lot of guys having career years at the same time. I just feel like he was the right person for the award. But I also think the voting went pretty realistic. Like I think Arneal did a great job with the Jets. I just think the argument with them is they didn't really like as much as it's hard to stay at the top with a new coach and like they didn't really have a huge amount of roster turnover. And it's like
yeah.
he was also like an internal hire, so it's like it's not like he was unfamiliar with the team, right? So and he also had a little bit of a head coaching experience with them when Bonus stepped away when his wife something happened with his wife, right? So
Yeah.
um like not that it's not impressive, right? But I just don't think it's as impressive as the season Carbery had.
Yeah, I'm all with you on that, dude. I think the season Carberry had with the Capitals was phenomenal and the best case scenario for them outside of winning the Stanley Cup, of course. Like as you mentioned, this was a team that had a lot of turnover, just snuck into the playoffs on the last day a year ago, and then this year they're winning the Eastern Conference in the regular season with a bunch of new players. And like one of the hardest things to do is when you have that much turnover, get all those players to gel, and he was able to do that and have them. Like it was a storybook season for him, dude. They won the Eastern Conference. You had Ovi breaking the goal record. Your coach wins the Jack Adams. It'll be interesting to see kind of where they go forward from here.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think they have a lot to do in accordance to roster turnover, but I mean they've got a pretty decent prospect pool. They've
Yeah.
got a lot of their picks still. Um, regardless if this is Ovi's last season or not. I mean, they just want to continue to push forward because like their goals now is to win a Stanley Cup, right? Like they have a pretty good roster. I just really wonder how it's going to end up going for them. Like it'd be more. My question is like, can a lot of these guys repeat their career
Yeah,
seasons? Like, not that they can't, and a lot of them are young, right? Like, so it's not like Protus or McMichael can't contain doing that again, right? But it's just if they do, right? And it's like the couple changes they do have to make to their roster. What do they do exactly? But I mean, I have a lot of faith in the organization considering what they did this offseason. And it's like, I feel like 90% of the people that I've either talked to or listened to about Washington going into the season had them not in the playoffs in general. So it's like the fact that they won the Eastern Conference is pretty nuts to me.
pretty insane. I want to ask you one thing, Mark, here before we wrap up the podcast. You mentioned the Alex Ovechkin final season next year potentially. Did you see the thing? What happened with the season ticket members in Washington or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do you how do you feel about that? Eh, like you know, embarrassing that has to be for that employee that sent out that email.
Dude, I guarantee he probably ended up getting fired.
Oh yeah, he probably did.
To be honest with you, I feel like it was just kind of stupid. But I mean, to gain the attention on the media, it was pretty nuts. But I just don't really understand how it benefits the person who did it. To be honest, that you're just losing your job. But um, it realistically, like you don't really know. He
Yeah.
until he says if it is like he's still capable of playing in the league, obviously at a really high level. But his contract is coming to an end, so it probably just
Imagine
going to depend how he feels.
imagine Ovi being on vacation wherever, like end of the season. He just sees that. What the fuck? Apparently, next year's my farewell tour. What the fuck? Okay. It's like so
He's like, okay.
awkward.
Well, the
Okay,
thing with him is
I
too is
guess I'll
like
go now.
he did say like 5 or 6 years ago that he did want to play one season in the KHL for his hometown team
Yeah.
before he actually retired. So I don't know. It just depends if he still feels the same way if he wants to do that or not. Right? Maybe it pushes him that he's still this good and the team is this good that like he maybe going into the season he literally is like I don't know yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a difficult decision to make, dude. Like, people just be like, just want an answer from him, but like, you just got to imagine how hard that is, dude. Like, Fleury's retired and then he's like coming out to play in the Worlds, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they probably don't want it to end. So, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously hope it's not his last season, but I mean, it could be.
Oh, Sam, I would really hate to see it be his last season, but on the other hand, I feel like it would be really funny if, like, 3 months after that email gets sent out, he has like a whole press conference announcing that it will be his farewell tour. It's like, man, it's like I just got fucking fired for breaking the news early. Oh, what the fuck?
Do you think he would want to be the guy, though, to like have like a farewell tour?
Yeah. No, I don't know if he'd be the guy that would want to, but like you kind of have to when you're him.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like the thing is like, do you think Sid is gonna be like whenever he's ready, he's gonna be like, yeah, this is my last year.
yeah.
Like I think no, I think Sid's gonna be like the Sedines and be like, say it like 3 games before the season ends.
I think it depends on how the rest of Sid's career plays out, like if he stays in Pittsburgh, all that, right? But I think when you look at this generation of players, there's two players that are gonna, I think, get a farewell tour, and it's Sid and Ovechkin. And then on the final day of the season, you just put them both in the Hall of Fame right away. You don't even make them wait the couple years or whatever the fuck it is to get in. You put them right in together on the final
Like
day.
right, that's that year or even the day.
That day, final game of the season, game 82, Pittsburgh versus
Washington,
Washington.
he's got to fly to Toronto after, put him right in
No,
the
the
Hall of
game's
Fame.
in Toronto as well. They just have
Oh,
a
okay.
neutral site game.
I
Definitely
mean,
be
I
definitely
would be
interesting to
down.
see.
I'd be actually 100% down for that.
But yeah, I think those two guys they get a farewell tour, and you put them in the Hall of Fame like as soon as you can, right? They've done so much for the growth of the game, like having that rivalry. I think like if you like it reminds me of like the Ronaldo Messi rivalry, right? Like there's two guys that were at the absolute top for 15, 20 years that they played against each other.
Okay.
Overall, though, that's going to wrap up today's episode. We got a fair bit to talk about here for not too much news around the NHL. Next time we record, there'll maybe be 1 or 2 games left in the Stanley Cup Finals, depending on how things go. It could even be over. So stay tuned for that, because as the season goes on, we'll be coming out for more stuff. But for everybody tuning in to this episode, thanks for tuning in.